Okay, we should be live. Gonna wait a minute to make sure. If only because I don't want to miss anything since we're right at a trial. Like, literally right at it. Like, it's right through these doors. There's the trial. Okay, just checking. Okay, we are currently live. From what I hope we are. I think we are. But anyway, enough about whether we're live or not. I can't even read the comments on this because the app is kind of messing up. Welcome one and all to the next part of Danganronpa. And I really wish I could have got this out sooner than 2 months. But stuff happened, live stuff happened, internet stuff happened, had to switch to a new carrier for internet, so that happened. So I haven't been playing much of the game, been wanting to play more, but I haven't been able to because, I want to live stream this, and I do want to get this all done before V3 comes out next month in September, which yes, it's also coming out on Steam simultaneously as it is on the PS4 and whatnot, which is really great for me. But enough about V3 stuff. We have to finish this game. It's been like what, maybe 2 minutes since we're here. Yeah, did I start fast forward? Okay, there it is. I managed to fix the issue. I missed all that dialogue, though. When you forward to it, so it shows how far you'll want it to take you. I guess I wasn't much help with this one.
Hey, come on!
What's up, man? What's up?
Oh, very sad.
Suck, yeah, I must admit, for being 3D, she was quite remarkable. Of course, just the idea of 3D makes me cringe. Dear God, man. I don't know why the killer did what they did, but
Count on it!
I'm sure it'll work itself out. Justice always prevails, right, bro?
Well,
So the ability to perform the shaded sacks on the roof on the individual. Are we ready? We're doing this.
well,
I'm like hiding in the back
shall
there.
we go?
No.
It's true.
One last reply. One last reply. Deep breath by his long towards the elevator on shaky legs. With each step forward, I could feel my heart starting to race faster and faster. As soon as everyone was alive, the elevator began to descend. I couldn't get a handle on my emotions. Couldn't stop speculating. The death elevator. The steel box sank with a heavy clanking sound deeper and deeper into the ground. And as we went deeper, the uneasiness in my heart grew bigger and bigger. The elevator was unaffected, however, and continued to descend without hesitation, until finally, it came to a sudden stop. Very decorated. Isn't it so fresh? Isn't it so exciting? Don't waste our time with stupid questions. Let's get this over with. We're ready to go. Gotta say, I don't hate it, not at all.
Well,
Let's get the show on the road.
grills, chills!
So the curtain opened once again. A deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal, a deadly riddle, a deadly class trial. Might as well save. Okay, let's do it. We got the truth bullets. We got the Monokuma file. Just to refresh our memories, the victim was Chihiro Fujisaki, died in death rescue around 2 a.m. The body was discovered in a girl's locker room on the second floor of the school. The cause of death was a bulk death with a blunt object. She was killed instantly. Although Chihiro wanted to get stronger, she was behind several invitations from soccer and alley, and may have used the locker room late at night to avoid them. Despite this, Chihiro has stated that she desired help with her efforts. She may have been someone in the locker room the night she was murdered. Dumbbell found in the girl's locker room with a sticking amount of blood, potentially the murder weapon. Chihiro had told anyone who wanted to listen that she wanted to get stronger. Some assumed that due to her superiority complex, thus being weak, she admired strength more than anyone else. Card reader, did he need to unlock? Did she suspect to unlock your handbook? You need a male student handbook for the boys and a girls student handbook for the girls. It is not possible for two people to enter at the same time. Additionally, lending some of your school handbook is a violation of the school regulations. Well, now it is. Okay, we got all the stuff. That's the skills. One by Jack increases the crypto word. That one. That is wide. Well, I have the skills, huh? Well, I guess we're all set. We're gonna be able to get. At least right now.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay then. So, first off, let's talk about the murder weapon!
These are my favorite episodes to do, if only because I don't have to talk as much! First we have to make clear, just deliver the fatal blow. I don't have to talk as much when I do these episodes with this.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting. That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Poor Chihiro.
I know where I have to get it.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
Interesting.
Damn, I messed up.
That certainly would make for a powerful weapon.
Poor Chihiro.
That was the fast forward option, so we're being in the game.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer... What kind of blunt?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
No, that's wrong.
Because you're a dumbass! Sorry, nobody likes the Gakure. Nobody.
Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell, found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
You looked at her head wound?
Yes! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
Genocide Jack, the fiendish serial killer. Did he really kill Chihiro? A new element has been added. The non-stop debate. Would you like to hear more? Might as well. For this debate, lines of white noise will appear to disrupt your reactions. Your troop will disappear if they hit these lines, so think of them as obstacles in your debate. But there's a way to keep this white noise from getting in your way. Press A to attach the silencer, which you can use to shoot down the white noise. However, if you shoot down an actual mark with your silencer instead, the white noise, the time limit will decrease, so take careful aim. Oh, but if your action difficulty is set to gentle, white noise won't appear at all. In which case you can forget about the silencer, just focus on the situation in front of you. Good, or they get lucky. Have fun.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of Genocide Jack, I don't know who that is!
I think you have to show me in the archive. One look at that and everyone will be convinced. This shows that this is work for Genocide Jack.
The culprit is Jack. Case closed.
That's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Why did I do that twice?
No, it's wrong.
That was the buttons were again. I'm using a PS controller, not a grab Xbox controller.
I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library. I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kinda weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the library?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that for now. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail.
Ew.
According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
But more important is the other characteristic,
characteristic,
and it's something that has never been made public.
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
The other characteristic of every Genocide Jack case is the world at large doesn't know.
I got it! Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of.
That's a gruesome shot.
It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
I like how matter-of-factly he just says that. Oh yeah, it's Toko, that bitch over there.
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
You lie!
What? Hey, okay, wait, hold on a sec. Toko has like bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of blood?
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes and no.
Another riddle. Man, why is this gotta be so complicated?
This is an adventure game, essentially? It's a riddle for sure, but I still don't understand it. Jack is Toko, but also not Toko. Yeah, alright. Ah, shit, we're doing Hangman's Gambit again.
refuse to give up yet!
Okay, let's try this again. I really don't like Hangman's Gambit. 6 letters, H-I. That's kind of
Now I understand! Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Schizo? Really? That was the thing?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file, too. They thought that the suspect might have... what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
That and schizophrenia are two completely different things, game.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
Perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
I got it!
Guess I'm getting my heart
You're
back.
talking about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up...
There's the whole tongue out. I'm fine. Oh, is that the body? Hey, you dead. She must have hit her head real hard when she fainted. The world was a front of... the front and back, the top ending and bottom. A sea of truth and a web of lies. This is quite concerning. I mean, she sounds completely different.
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can't handle blood, and one that obviously can.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control. Now, I'll drive out the killer, drive out the murderous fiend.
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
How? Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie.
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised. I can't believe you lied.
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little
That's
story.
the fish
I didn't ask you to.
Any of the crap.
This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise...
Sorry I couldn't keep our promise. But don't worry, never again. I won't let Genocide Jack have control ever again.
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
How many times do I have to tell you? I never said that.
but you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from...
I tried!
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
Look at that, it's the face of not caring at all.
I hate you!
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person you don't mean...
Douglas' body suddenly lunged backwards. A huge stud echoed across the courtroom, but in the next second... Oh, the crazy business back!
Hello there! Is it me you were hoping to see? What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this?
Look how crazy this happened.
Not Toko! That's a loser name! And what happened is a textbook split personality!
Well, fictional textbook split personality.
So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's faults.
So intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back humor. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth lives a little lie. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
This is the murderous fiend, Genocide Jack. This is beyond insane.
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you. I am the mastermind of all masterminds! Just kidding!
Then
You're gonna troll
It's
everybody
not
right
true?
now?
Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid! And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless! I mean, they just let this idiotic bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town!
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone. Just kidding again!
The ultimate troll! That's what you mean.
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death. There's clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be revealed. Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about Genocide Jack. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless, it's the truth.
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say, you monster!
Maybe she's totally right about that, but there's something still bothering me. What she said, I need to get some more details about all of this. Yeah, I love this music. Okay, what do we got? That's a dead body.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
Wrong button again!
No, it's wrong!
Give me another heart, game!
Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I'm not not so sure about
Yeah, I
that.
didn't want to waste time on that
I
one.
think there's a slight difference between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Because I love shooting down
How's it any different?
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you!
That's a good name for a doctor, right?
I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very
I feel sorry for
particular
the
way of
job it
doing
was to
things.
put in English text over all the Japanese text in this scene.
Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything. But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee. This is no creation of mine.
Let me rephrase that in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
The photos?
I got it!
Yeah, there we go. Another
For
heart.
one, the cause of death is different. In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right. In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce.
That
Please stop
face.
comparing killing people to cooking.
That's the face.
So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
I got it!
There we go. Give me that hard
Do
game.
you remember what the killer used to suspend her? They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her wrists.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, something else was used to suspend them. Specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I used my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the
Where
arrangement.
did you get that from? Do you just have a scissor guy?
Like I said, I'm a
kinda dirty.
professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Big Mac said there's two differences, but he's wrong.
Big Mac? Are you referring
Big
to me?
Mac.
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually one more difference.
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were in each Genocide Jack case. There's a pattern there, just waiting to be discovered.
A pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
Let's see. It's a chance to get a little heart.
I got it!
That's why she killed only
Is
dudes.
it because Chihiro was a girl?
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
What are you talking about?
In all the Genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in common.
Denarada, Honda, Sojigaku, Konanise, Takushi Yoshida. If you didn't know anything about Japanese names, this would be a very, like, what the right answer kind of situation. I already took a lot of these pictures.
They were all guys?
That's right! The people I killed with such passion and conviction are all adorable little men!
Oh dear, that face.
I can't believe I said it! I'm so embarrassed!
The hell is wrong with you?
A lot of things, apparently.
I can't help it! I'm just a full-throttle boy-on-boy fangirl!
Oh dear!
The movie side of me just hates it! But now I'm on the fast track to becoming a full-fledged fan madam!
So since Chihiro was a girl and not an adorable little man, you wouldn't kill her?
Would an Italian chef suddenly start making ramen just because they're both noodles? Don't be stupid. I have too much passion and conviction to cross that line. That's the absolute reality of the one and only.
We get it. You've clearly explained your hobby and your philosophy. But that's not all there is to it. It's a different matter entirely, when you're forced to kill in order to survive.
Quiet, Lollycar!
I love that moment.
I would never kill for a reason as petty as mere survival. And if by some fluke I did kill to survive, why would I bother with the message and arrangement? It'd make me the obvious suspect!
That does make some amount of sense.
Plus, whatever reason I have for killing, I would never leave out my prized scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Can you even lift it with those noodle arms?
Maybe you used the dumbbell because you couldn't find any scissors in the school?
Any scissors? I don't just use any scissors. I only use my own set of high-class envy of the entire world scissors!
Okay, whatever. There still aren't any...
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, we have to confiscate all of those.
She's fully equipped!
That's right! So I can kill anywhere, anytime!
Freaking
Why would I
JoJo's
resort to
in the
dumbbells or
background.
rope when I have my trusty scissors by my side? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong! You can't, can you? Gutter dogs, all of you!
Yeah, she got
Not
good
to
at
mention,
this.
I have no clue how to tie a good knot! So rope's totally out of the question anyway!
I have no idea what's going on anymore! Could such a heinous villain really be innocent?
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
Yeah! That's why we figured it had to be the real deal, and not some copycat killer or whatever.
Oh, there's one person. The person who copied like that. You guys have told me about this
Here's my
crap.
answer. Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it? You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents or internal police records. Plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Are you saying Mr. Togami did it?
Then the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on it! The adorable glasses man was behind it all!
Oh dear! That's the worst space!
Well, Byakuya, what's your response?
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely...
Looking back and thinking about it now, the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange.
You're acting slightly less like a jerk ass. In the locker room. That's suspicious. That's indeed, would you agree? That's suspicious. It seems most by search the locker room. Let's start with the girls' locker room.
You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you want to say? The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls' locker room.
Nothing strange about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so go ahead. Share with the rest of the class.
That's the face someone's about to smack a bit. Called the Truth Flashback. If you aim at a weak spot and hold down the Y button, then you'll memorize that weak spot. This memorized phase can only be shot out once as a single truth bullet. If you shoot or change the truth bullet, it will disappear from your truth cylinder. However, you can use the flashback feature as many times as you want. Okay, now which button is Y on this thing? If you don't seem to have the answer on the Y position in the one truth bullets, then my device in a much different weak spot and use that just make your case. When's the best time for a flashback? Well, you'll just have to use your own keyword, won't you? In this case, though, I will say that if you don't use flashback, you won't be refuting anything. Oh, then good luck and have fun.
said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
You absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was... So, of course, I would suggest we check the girls' locker. There was no time for pointless distraction. What's so strange about...
I wish you'd taken me with you.
Okay, so I have the same button. At the hold instead of pressing.
So, you said Byakuya, but he was acting...
If you're presented with the opportunity to
That's a natural reaction for...
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So, of course, I would suggest we check the girls' locker.
There was no time. What's so strange? I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body.
Nope.
Shoot!
Lost the heart there.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird...
If you're presented with the opportunity to...
That's a natural reaction!
The victim was Chihiro.
No, he's wrong.
Oh, I need that heart back. I want to perfect this thing.
I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
Left.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more than that. Go ahead. Show us.
What's with Byakuya's attitude? It's like he doesn't even care. I've got him cornered, but he's acting like it was he has nothing to do with it.
What's the matter? You're not finished all...
There is.
There is more to it. Think about it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack incidents. The proof you're looking for is hidden in there.
Oh? Proof that I'm the culprit.
In this case, other Genocide Jack murders. The evidence that proves Byakuya is responsible is hidden there. Back to this again! Oh, it's that lamp.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away
somewhere.
somewhere.
Rewind on this.
What? The difference? You want me to explain when I want to kill? And I use those same... But Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right!
Then there must be...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
Gotcha now!
What's wrong?
I should get my freaking heart back now.
Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it before. Because you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
Then Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
Really rushing to the end here, guys.
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this? I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that I intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right?
He's doing it again. He's totally calm, totally unconcerned. As if he's not even involved. Wait, not even involved?
What's wrong? I asked you if...
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right?
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
It's a game, right? So he'd be totally willing to do something like this to win.
Sorry, but can we... I think we need to talk about this a little more.
Do we really need to? We've already...
I know, but there's something that's still bothering me.
Is that right? And what, pray tell, is still
That's
bothering
the
you?
fix, so it's still about the
I
fix,
killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath. What about all that
Wait, what was that just now? Something's not right. Chihiro's body was to find found in the girls' locker room, but what does that mean? Can you really just accept Byakuya's said as the truth? No, I don't think so.
I got it!
Yes! I got my
You
heart
say
back.
you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else?
How disappointing. What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointments, this is a true letdown.
Damn.
She was found dead in the girls' locker room. There is absolutely no question about that. How could the scene of the crime have been anywhere else?
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was killed somewhere else, then carried there later, along with the rest of the murder scene.
The rest of the murder scene?
Oh, now he's sweating.
That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for saying...
I believe I do.
Did I actually take you off guard? In the story seems to the crime scene. Byakuya, who's been so confident up till now, maybe Byakuya never even realized that the actual scene of the crime could have been somewhere else.
Hey, don't just move on without permission. What do you mean she was killed somewhere else?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof.
I got it!
Holy crap, that was right!
The proof that she was killed somewhere else is... the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' locker room was a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. But don't you think that's kind of strange? Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys' locker room.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker rooms. You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein coffee?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet. But I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally scrubbed away.
The screen was scrubbed away. It was moved.
I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why would anyone do that?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible, don't you think? What? In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
Huh?
Why would they go through all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your three-handed across the card reader device. But Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
Is it really possible?
Oh, I love this beat.
Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook. She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her. No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course. No, that's wrong.
I just want to smack the guy for my voice. Because he's an idiot.
No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. It says nothing about borrowing one. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the noggin!
The loophole in the
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers, like I said.
Psst! You can't fix an e-handbook! The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring!
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify her own handbook...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just wrong?
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya.
Then Chihiro was killed in the girls' locker room. Byakuya's the one who did it, really? But still, I don't know what else.
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the? You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What?
What are you talking about? What other way is there?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Wait! Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official class trial recess.
For real?
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it will meet your lofty expectations.
So before we even knew what was happening, the class trial was put on hold. And we headed off with Kyoko at the lead. And where she took us was... You still haven't put the body away yet? Damn!
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top to bottom! What are you trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time.
Well, check it again.
Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Examine her carefully? Like using our hands?
Oh no!
No way!
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body. It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just... based on religious grounds, you know?
What religion are you even
Very
a part
well.
of?
I'll do it.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her. So just leave this to me.
Sakura. What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about?
Yeah, I'm
That's
about
not
that.
it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Put your hands together for a brief prayer. Soccer then begin to quietly examine her body.
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but... What? This is... What is this...
There she goes.
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible.
Sakura, stop going Super Saiyan for 5 minutes. Sakura's eyes were staring wildly at Chihiro's lifeless form. Her massive frame trembled.
This girl is
what?
Is a boy!
You touched Chihiro's balls! There's a bad...
See, so she was actually a he. Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact.
Okay, you stay calm for about 5 seconds.
You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
I just saw something.
It's really true?
Chihiro was a guy?
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat. Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
He was a cross-dresser? Oh, I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial. I do apologize for keeping you waiting. Now then, let's resume the class trial. We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy. Let's pick up from there.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy.
You could have just swung that way. That's a plausible explanation. I think that Chihiro was actually a guy. Well, biologically speaking, that's a whole other conversation we're not getting into! It's a thought he had never even thought and never even crossed my mind.
And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is the most titillating situation!
Oh dear! That face!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Very interesting.
He's off in his own little world.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that
far
might
too
be
chill
because
about this
it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? overt. He consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see it. And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy. If you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being.
Mark it as correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I find it very hard to believe.
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Back to square fucking one.
I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility. Because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in.
You are very easily swayed.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
He does not.
Of course I do. What am I, an ant or something?
Yes.
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
Well, deadly hide and seek. Like that one OVA. What was it called? I think it was called hide and seek. This is a real color. Chihiro. One thing we have to make sure that we know about the killer. The killer was able to gain access to the real murder scene, which means
I got it!
the crime scene was the boys' locker room. The boys' sample to the end. The scan sample was apparently broken. The killer would have had to use their own. In other words, it would have to have been a guy. But there's still not enough. But we need to find some more clues. Well, that's the non-stop debate!
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by then.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any time to move info.
Sorry, it keeps happening to the line.
Isn't there a single clue? Well,
Did nobody get... I'm sure if someone saw the...
perhaps someone saw the victim.
Yeah. All we need...
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer. And only the...
No!
I should have known. Hagakure is always wrong! I killed him in the demo.
I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes, I did see him.
Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last
night,
night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag, and then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd.
Well, I better keep going. I'm kind of in a hurry.
Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much. Enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
Oh, what a marvelous
Oh
friendship!
no! The yaoi strikes again!
The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No. You already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously? Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on 2 pieces of evidence that we don't have?
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
Keep leading, because this jacket really holds something about the killer. Sometimes it's really hard to believe.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
No!
Gotcha, bitch! Just keep leading until they answer the question
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said...
I saw him slipping a tracksuit into a duffel bag, and I assumed he had off to exercise.
She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you... You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue?
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Because I just...
I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
Wait to point the finger at
No,
yourself.
that can't be it. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died! That's the only possibility!
Cherry.
Are you talking about
I
Chihiro?
freaking love Genociders nicknames for people.
So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying...
No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony...
She stuffed the tracksuit into the bag and was in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. And just like that, she was gone.
And when Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew who did it, to put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question. There was a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
You noticed such a tiny detail?
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth.
You barely talked the
What
entire
gives you the
time.
right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Crazy eyes right now.
He would never do something like that! This is a false accusation!
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come.
Dear God, that voice.
That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
Some freaking Ghost Trick reference?
Oh yeah, that reminds me.
Really? What kind of evidence?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then... here it is.
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up. Shoot!
Damn it! That's another heart down.
I got it!
That's high, so that's
We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted. It won't even turn on.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
Shoot!
Damn it!
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
The weak point is the bug.
You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick succession, then
then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us already! Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
She is also right.
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure
demand our
you
way out
will
of
follow
this?
their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt, huh? It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin.
So when you move, it
If
burns
the
like crap.
hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
Random science
That
lesson.
is
So,
a mere
murderous teddy bear.
trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
Meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Whoa! Seriously?
It's all coming together.
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
Dude with Super Saiyan
Here's
in the
my
freaking
answer.
sauna, so of course it has to be you.
Mondo. Your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What?
Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on.
He had enough strength in his hair to lift that towel.
But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
Remember, kids, don't bring electronics into a sauna. It's a bad idea.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. I don't accept this. Show me the proof.
Don't want to believe either, but I'm confident that proves it. That was a doubt. Ooh, I like this track too.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Yeah, it's either one of those two.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, If Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just
Broken!
No, it's wrong!
Let's say that leave this track behind us. This is a cool track.
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
The broken handbook that was in the main hall, isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So
This
then,
thing's made out of.
the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's, yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says loaning out your handbook is prohibited?
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student.
They're a corpse.
It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting.
Does have a point. It does.
As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but...
Son of a bitch.
What's wrong, bro? Come on! Tell him he's wrong! You are wrong! You have to be wrong! Everything you just said is wrong! You made it all up!
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning? That way, everything will become clear, and we'll all see if I was right or wrong.
Time for the comic book panel time! Okay, so... There are more. Let's say girls or boys? Oh, that's good. I know this is where the murder takes place. What is this one? I'll do proxy elimination and take care of the ones that I know of first. Tiene la ropa que también.
The killer is you! First, let's take a look back to before the incident. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag. That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste? With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room. Specifically, but how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the...
Damn it! So I did mix up two back. Okay, so right up to right here, bang, bang, enter the room, dumbbell lift, hit the dumbbell dead, drop the dumbbell, dead body, clean up the scene, swipe the thing. Right there. Fix up the scene, Miyake comes in, does his thing.
Here's exactly what happened! With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, but how could the victim? Simple, because she was really a he, which is why he was able to use his own e-handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him.
Okay, dumbbell's not in the right place. That one there. Okay. Dumbbell not right now. Cleaning up the scene, swiping the handbook. I think this is supposed to not be that one, I'm not sure.
Here's exactly what happened! And attacked him. And that's where... It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, then removing the bloody post.
Okay, so that's not right. Body. Last chance.
The killer is you! Which is why the killer then removing the blood. And finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room. A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course. But this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl.
Yeah, they're dead, girl.
After all, Sayaka using one of those a boy could...
Oh, that was what I was worried about.
And that's exactly how the killer did it. With the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch. That could have been the end of things, but no. Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation, making things even more complicated. So, after stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library, and then he got to work. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter.
Is game over.
I refuse to give up yet!
That's 2 game overs. I have to start from the beginning of this thing, don't I? Yes, I do.
The killer is you! First, last night at the time.
Get this one right this time. Yeah, right.
That's...
Oh, I did not. I'm not gonna have a good score on this one, aren't I?
With that, she made her way. But how could the victim, who was a simp, which is why he once it seemed, and that's where the bloodstains on the
dead body.
It was like, which is then and fought a girl with this alone after using one of, and that's with the carpet and the poster they changed that Kyaku. So he went and he used then he wanted to create the illusion.
That's our best game. Okay, so it's not that one. So that was still not right. Not the dumbbell.
The killer is you!
Okay, it's that one.
And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna. There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook.
Finally!
And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out.
That was a correct flash of lights.
Isn't that right, Mondo Orada?
Look at that smile. That is the smile of someone who was not very happy.
Wait! No! This can't be right! Where's your evidence? Yeah! Where's your evidence? You need evidence! You need proof! Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him!
Evidence that Mondo's code already revealed itself earlier in the trial. If I can somehow show where Mondo's handbook is right now, since it's that, everything will become clear. New elements, and that's Let's talk about fever time and nega time. During bullet time battle, is if you press the RB button, fever time will activate and tempo will be forced to max. At this point, even if you push the buttons at random, you won't miss. So if you push AY, however you want to destroy the opponent's verbal, you can push AY, however you want to push the opponent's verbal assault. But it only lasts till your focus gauge runs out, so make sure the best possible time to use it. Of course, it wouldn't be fair if only you got to access a special time, right? But you could definitely call it nega time, which your opponent can use. If the opponent activates nega time during the bullet time battle, your tempo marker will disappear, making it quite a bit tougher to hit the buttons in the rhythm. If you activate fever time at this point, no matter what would happen, I'm sure, surprisingly, if your action difficulty is set to gentle, your opponent won't activate nega time. Well then, good luck and have fun.
Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! Show me some evidence!
This should prove it!
That was difficult. He activated freaking mega time on me. And that's a really high tempo on that ever can.
Thinking so far is right, Mondo must have replaced his broken handbook with Leon's. In which case, we can just check each of our handbooks right now. Once we do that, we'll...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah. I did it. I killed him.
I got an A. I'm surprised. Yay, mono coins!
Bro! What are you saying?
I got no choice, man. After hearing all that, I gotta just... give up. Go ahead, Monokuma. Get it over with. Ask for the goddamn verdict.
Roger that!
Wait! Hold on!
No waiting! No holding on! Time for the moment we've all been waiting for! Grab your lever and give it a yank! Who will you elect as the Blackened this time around? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
this time it looks like you got it right again. Yes, it is so. The black ant that killed Chihiro Fujisaki was Mondo Iwata! In case you're wondering, the vote was not unanimous. Kiyotaka chose the wrong answer. You're treading very close to the danger zone, Mr. Ishimaru. You need to be more careful. What? I refuse to believe it. There's no way he would kill someone.
Sorry.
What is this?
Apologizing. Why? Why? Why did you do it?
Now then.
It looks like Mondo's taking a vow of silence, so allow me to expound on his behalf.
Actually...
The story of murder this time is the sad story of two men. But anyone who doesn't really want to hear, you can press B button really fast to fast forward the text. Anyway, there was once a young boy, and his name was Chihiro Fujisaki. He had an extreme inferiority complex regarding his lack of strength. You're so weak, even though you're a boy. He'd heard things like that as long as he could remember, so he could overcome his weakness. On the contrary, he tried to hide and buried himself further and further into that weakness. To take on the fragile form of a petite young girl, he chose that as his way out. Now nobody will be able to say anything even though you're a boy. No matter how tightly he wrapped himself up in that shell, the inferiority complex had already taken deeper inside of him, and it was not so easily weeded out. It turned out the shell was completely empty. The complex didn't disappear, instead it only grew stronger and stronger. I'm weak.
Weak.
Once the killing game had begun, Hero slowly had no choice but to accept this fact. After all, this world is survival of the fittest. If you're not strong, you don't survive. And then the lovely and hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of the embarrassing secrets. Which of course includes Chihiro's embarrassing secret, which I was more than willing to divulge. Even though he dresses like a girl, Chihiro's actually a boy.
Hey,
And that was something Chihiro couldn't let anyone find out, no matter the cost. If that were revealed, it would be the end. The hardened shell would crack, the armor would fall away. That would doubt those around him would torture him more than ever before. Everyone figured being thrust into such a dilemma must have sent him spiraling into despair.
What?
And yet...
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about it right now.
But...
I don't want to leave things the way they are, so maybe I can talk about it later. I'm trying my best to become strong so I can tell everyone. Unknowingly, he used the threat of discovery to motivate himself to become stronger.
That's right. I want to change.
Kind of so that when someone says, even though you're a boy, I'll be okay. I'll get better. That is the face of resolve! With that thought at the front of his mind, he resolved to take immediate action. And so, that day, he made the commitment to begin exercising. He was prepared to retain his body and mind. But sadly, that would be the first and only chance he would get at that.
Hey,
When he decided to start exercising, he thought it would be good to ask for someone's help. But he wanted to tell that person his secret first, and then ask them to help him for sure. And the person he went to...
Yeah, that's right.
It was me. Yep, it was! The biker gang fellow that had been painfully clear about how important his manly promises were. So Chihiro probably figured that even if he could fight Mondo, his honor would make him keep the secret. Why can I not talk sometimes? Plus, Mr. Macho Mondo was very simple. It was the strong man Chihiro had always aspired to be. Maybe talking to Mondo about it will give me some courage. So he went and asked Mondo to help him become strong. That was his aspiration. And he thought that only with Mondo's support could he ever become close to that.
Correct.
So then that must have been why Mondo did what he did, to keep the promise he made to Chihiro. Did what he did. You mean why did Mondo carry Chihiro from the boys' locker room into the girls' locker room?
Indeed.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Is that to cover up what he'd done?
Certainly.
That could have been part of it, but I don't think it was the main reason. The real purpose was to keep the promise between men he made to Chihiro.
But
how does moving the body keep a secret?
Because...
If everyone knew he'd be killed in the boys' locker room, then everyone would begin arguing about how she got into the boys' locker room, right? Once that started, at least a few of us would have immediately begun suspecting its identity, so... He tried to protect Chihiro's secret by putting him in the girls' locker room and stealing his handbook, see? Then Mondo did all that to keep the promise he made to Chihiro, who he'd also killed? How did he do that? The more I hear you talk, the more I don't understand. I mean, you guys trust each other, right? So why did you... Because no matter what, I didn't want anyone to know.
I knew it.
So that's what triggered it, after all. The possibility of having your embarrassing memories and secrets exposed.
What is this?
It's possible nothing could have been that bad. Something he didn't want anyone to know, even if it meant killing someone?
You're wrong!
That's impossible.
Don't make me repeat myself.
I repeat myself. To judge others by your own standard is the height of folly. Even if you can't comprehend it, he obviously can. That's all there is to it. Well, while we're on the subject, why don't I tell you? The embarrassing memory, that secret he didn't want anyone to know.
Hey,
You know what Mondo did? He killed his own brother. Mondo, the ultimate biker gang leader, makes all the hoodlums and riffraff across the country tremble. But the only reason he had the chance of joining a gang in the first place was because of a certain someone. Mondo's older brother, who was Daya Owada. Mondo had nothing but respect for him. It was because of Daya that Mondo ever got on a motorcycle. Mondo's brother was his only family growing up. He was the only one Mondo could trust or respect. He wanted to measure up to his big brother, so he intimidated him in everything. Imitated him in everything he did. Mondo was the epitome of a starry-eyed kid brother. Meanwhile, the charismatic older brother had put together a local motorcycle gang. And before anyone knew it, the gang had grown to the biggest biker gang in the country. Daya, the older brother, number one in the gang, and number two, his younger brother, Mondo. In the beginning, everything was peaches and gravy. Then Mondo started to think about how he would have to take over the gang from his brother someday. His brother's greatness and reputation began to gnaw on Mondo's very soul. The kid's gonna take over for Daya, huh? Daya created this gang with spare hands. Mondo's just along for the ride. Could someone like that really be our leader? All doubt did was make the gang look bad. Almost every day, Mondo heard the gossip and whispers of the other members of the gang. Which is why...
I
gotta get stronger. Stronger than Daya. Once. Just one time. No matter what, I gotta win.
Don't fuck with me!
I don't care what it takes. I gotta come out on top. On that night of this amazing girl's parents' ceremony, Mondo challenged him to a street race. But during the race, crash struck. It's always a goddamn truck in anime! His brother pushed ahead with reckless abandon, even as the victory attached to oncoming traffic. But suddenly... laying in his kid brother's arms, the older brother delivered his final words. My bad, kid. I fucked up. Sorry. Best last words ever! Of course, he knew it was his brother's fault, but Daya never blamed him for what happened. Hey kid, the rest is up to you, no matter what. You gotta keep the gang together. Because it's the team you and me put together. It's a promise between men. That's the face of action. He decided to hide the truth of what happened from everyone else in the gang. In order to keep the gang together and keep the promise to his brother, he could never admit to anyone that it was his own weakness that caused the accident. And as a result, the team that was made even stronger under the banner of the kid who bested his big brother. Dio was gonna lose to his kid brother, so he got stupid and got himself killed. That became an explanation for what happened. Mondo's lie became the truth. He wanted to lead the team so bad, he was willing to tell all kinds of lies about his brother.
I just...
I'm strong. Strong. And yet... As soon as our killing game began, he realized no matter how tough he pretended to be, he was just another weakling that could die in an instant. And then the lovely and hateful Monokuma announced the revealing of embarrassing secrets. At that point, it was clear I would have no problem shedding light on his secret. Mondo killed his own brother. No matter what, I couldn't let the other gang members find out. If that happened, everything would have been ruined. Everything me and my brother had worked so hard to create would have been destroyed. His death, all the guilt I've been carrying around, it all would have been for nothing. So that's why Mondo, after what I saw, what Monokuma had on me, my head filled with all kinds of fuzzy uneasiness and just started swirling around. I never felt anything like it before. I didn't know what I could do about it. I wasn't sure what to think or say, but after a while, the fuzziness, that uneasiness, turned itself into a rock-hard lump of anxiety way down in my stomach. And it was right around then that Chihiro asked me to start working out with him. And right there, he told me a secret. Seriously, Jesus!
I'm sorry.
Sorry I lied to you. But why? Why now? Why are you telling me this all of a sudden?
Huh?
Because, I mean, you've been keeping a secret all this time, right? If anyone found out, you would...
But...
You're right, but...
I want to change.
I wrapped myself in lies. I'm weak. I want to destroy that version of me forever. His words were like a knife in my gut. I felt like he was exposing a lie I'd been living myself. I have to change. I don't want to be weak anymore. You're so strong, it can't hurt, right? Whatever secret Monokuma might tell on us.
You piece of...
So what, you're saying I should just say it?
What?
You're saying if I really am, I should just be able to tell everybody my secret?
Huh?
I was jealous. I was jealous of Chihiro's strength. He had the strength to face his own weakness, to try and overcome it. It was the kind of strength that I never had. So I was jealous of him. And that jealousy broke me.
What?
Are you making fun of me? I'm strong. Are you fucking with me right now?
No!
I'm not making fun of you. You really are strong, Mondo. Look, I can hear something starting. I feel like I hear something starting to creak. Something inside my head. What did he want me to do? What was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to sit back, let my secret get revealed and ruin everything?
What's wrong?
Damn you!
Face! Why did you have to tell me that? Why are you trying to rub my failure in my face?
I just wanted to...
I just really admire... Oh! I admire your strength. This is even sadder.
That's right.
But I am strong. I'm strong. Stronger than you!
You son of a bitch!
Stronger than Dia! I don't remember anything after that. When I woke up again, I was laying on my feet covered in blood. I had the dumbbell in my hand, and I was just staring at him, down on the ground. Hey! I killed him.
I killed Chihiro. Even after all this time, I'm still just as weak as I've always been. And thanks to that, I did something I can never take back.
Mondo. He was normally so aggressive, so angry. He hid that weak side away from everyone. That was his secret. A weakness like that lived in a heart like his and turned him cold-blooded. God damn it. Bear's head on top no matter what! Look at him. You see? You're all just like him. For a secret from the past, for a memory that he killed another living human in cold blood. Couldn't be cut free of his regrets from the outside world if he doesn't know his true strength. You see hope anywhere in this? Cause I sure don't. Bastard! Shut up, you son of a bitch! Go ahead, say that again, I dare you!
Yep.
Okay, I'll say as many times as I want, but what I want to say, but unfortunately I can't do that right now because it's time for punishing. Time for punishing is fast approaching. Punishing?
It can't be.
Execution!
Well now.
Black that disturbs the peace will be punished.
Ridiculous.
Hold on.
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
For Mondo One, the ultimate biker gang leader. No, wait.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's
punishment time! I said wait!
Sorry, man. I couldn't keep the promise we made. From one man to another.
That bear's energy is infectious. Mondo butter for all your needs. Yankee fried! Use them for his pancakes. Okay, that's a reference to something, but I don't know what it's referencing. I think I heard it before somewhere that was a reference to something, but I don't know what it's referencing. Laugh at death and your soul will forever be at peace. It can't be! You got turned into friggin' butter! My brother got turned into butter! Another murder and another execution. I want to feel again. Everyone's lives are taken so lightly here. I feel like I might be going mad. Maybe I'll just let it happen. Like that! As Taka's sad screams veil our skulls, we're all forced to realize once again. But he, of course, he had to. No disappointment. This is the end of the game. Byakuya!
What is this?
Completely a saying, you know that? A game? One of our friends is dead. Do you realize that?
Naturally.
Of course I do, because this is a game of life or death.
Hey.
I don't have anything to say to you. I don't have a response except that.
However,
I just don't understand why. Why did you go out of your way to disguise Mondo's crime?
What?
Why? Is it obvious? Because it made things more interesting. His voice was calm, emotionless, like the voice of death. It chilled me to the bone. Last night, when the murder took place, I was in the library as usual.
Honestly.
So you ignored the nighttime rule, too. That rule never mattered to me. I don't recall agreeing to it.
There is nothing to be done.
I don't particularly care. Please continue. The night grew late. I decided to return to my room, which was when I stumbled upon him. I spotted Mondo coming out of the girls' locker room. After he's gone, I looked inside and saw the corpse. What? You actually witnessed the murder? You're a fool. We didn't have the slightest idea I'd seen it.
Well...
You're saying you knew who the culprit was from the very beginning?
That's right.
Indeed. But if that had been the end of it, how boring would that have been? I mean, what a waste of time to have the answer revealed right at the beginning. So I decided to lend a little helping hand. I thought it would liven things up. You did all that to liven things up?
I see.
Because you decided to grab the token, you decided to use that to create a fake murder scene.
But...
Damn, man, if you hadn't figured out who'd really done it, you would have been dead too, right? Well, obviously, I would have revealed the truth before it reached that point. Of course, you have to turn to me and look me in the eye. You feel his sharp eyes piercing into me. There's something remarkable someone, it never did. And I was able to perform an interesting experiment.
Interesting.
Once I do decide to become blackened, I know who I'll have to watch out for. What?
Correct.
So that was your reasoning. Are you satisfied?
Indeed.
Yes, we're done listening to your story. Moving on.
Hey.
There's something I'd like to ask Monokuma.
What's this?
What's next? You like to perform those elaborate executions each time, correct? My question is why? Do you like them? But, you know, this punishment, this despair, it's not just for you. All this punishment, all this despair is my gift to mankind itself!
What?
You're over-exaggerating. I am not over-exaggerating. These punishments are meant to transform all hope to despair.
Damn.
What do you mean? Mean? Mean?
What the heck?
Mean! Good grief, I don't understand why I have to pick apart every little stupid thing. Whatever, doesn't matter. In the end, I'm going to stand alone as a victim, and everything will be revealed to me.
Ooh, how
Son of a noble family, will you understand me? I think this is the start of a terrifying friendship.
That's enough.
Shut up, I would never stoop to the level of a childish criminal like you. Let me just say this. After I have achieved victory, you're up next. I'm going to find you and kill you, understand?
In the name of my family.
In the name of the Kami family, victory is before non conclusion.
You're getting all riled up!
It's like you're the main character of a video game or something. No trash mob for you. That's whatever it takes, I will kill you! And pretend for it sounds like someone needs a nap. One of them is laughter bladed across the courtroom, and the curtain closed when it came to Chihiro and Mondo. But I knew that wasn't the end. The killing game would still continue, because the mastermind wouldn't let it end. For those of us who were still alive, our worst fear and despair kept on multiplying. It was a kind of despair that felt like a blind puppy in hell had more of a future than us. All of our courage, our effort, our friendship, it felt like it amounted to nothing at all. It was the worst kind of despair.
Well, anyway, like I was saying, this is a pretty good spot. Yeah, a really good spot. Anyway, isn't it amazing how that girl went and killed someone before things even had a chance to get boring? Once things really get moving, it'll be like a roller coaster. There won't be any stopping it. Fear and despair charge forward at a speed nothing can hope to match. But I must admit, I'm disappointed. I went to all the pain and effort of making you part of the group, and you couldn't play your part. You do remember you were supposed to make the first move, right? Well, no biggie. Nothing we can do about it now. So just do your best to make things more exciting from now on, okay? After all, that's what everyone wants to see.
One thing I'd like to ask you.
As long as you don't want to know my measurements, fire away!
Who listens? The 16th high school student, I mean.
Ooh. My, you really took me by surprise there. I know I said you could ask anything, but... Super denied, ultra denied, demonic denied! Because you see, that's my ace in the hole. And nobody'd be dumb enough to reveal that, right? No matter how close they were to their friends.
10 left. To be continued. Crazy Diamond. Favorite guys in present. And I got a trophy. Little Steam achievement.
I know I shouldn't cry, but I've had enough. I can't take it anymore. Getting out of here anytime soon. It's impossible. I can't let myself think about how much I want to get out of here. If I keep thinking like that,
Need to eat some donuts. That'll cheer me up. Glaze donuts, Twix donuts, jelly donuts, cream filled donut holes, small sawdust. Hey, how?
okay.
Oh God, donuts, I pray for a wonderful encounter. Thank you for breaking the nighttime rule, but right now, for me, donuts are absolutely necessary.
Huh? Huh?
What's that sound? Sounds like it's coming from the bathhouse.
But
I'm super scared, but is someone there? Next Generation Legends 10 Tall Galactic Hero! The morning after the conclusion of the second class trial. Everyone met at the dining hall just like always. And I expected it to start like any other day. That was what I expected, but they kind of sucks, huh? Tucko and Byakuya still refuse to show up. And I haven't seen Miss Asahina anywhere. She said her stomach was hurting, so she was taking it easy in her room for today.
oh,
That was rather unusual for her. Normally, she was so full of energy. Which is exactly what makes me worry.
So then,
She's having a bus then. What's that way?
How about that?
As a dismiss, this were the committee chairman. He said, get things going with a bang.
Impossible.
Why not? I haven't said a word since everything happened yesterday. Looks like his face showed up. He hadn't sucked a wink last night. It must be because of Mondo. The two of them became so close, and then he finds out Mondo killed Chihiro. And then having to watch Mondo get punished, and nothing he can do about it. I can't even begin to imagine what it must have done to him.
well,
I mean, what's gonna happen now? We haven't found any way out, and we have no idea if help's ever gonna come.
It's
Now I'm
like...
depressed just thinking about it. We quickly have to make the best of it. Do our best to get moving and live here together in peace. Forget about the outside world and accept this new life. That's the only hope we have now. Let's live here forever.
Well,
We have everything. We have every convenience. We have food, clothes, our own needs, our every need is seen to. Why are you so dissatisfied? In fact, let me ask you this. Well, this is about the outside world for too long for.
is that okay?
Competition, discrimination, victimization, and violence in society grows, so it's perversion. Worst case, our current situation, not. Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess!
Huh?
Huh?
Here we go!
The drill shop owner, the bunny-eared Amazon, cat grill, dog boy, Robo Justice, and Double Justice of Galactic Knight. And. What I mean is there's no two-dig here!
There is nothing to be done.
The mastermind puts such space desire to their advantage, bending you to their will.
You know?
Yeah, well, since talk is like catatonic, as the oldest one here, I officially stepped in to take the lead. So, we're all gonna work together and spend the rest of the day searching the school. Searching?
I'm right,
Well, I mean,
right?
since the Flash Hall's over and all,
Perhaps.
there should be new places for us to investigate. Yeah, that's a ticket. Maybe we'll find some kind of clue this time.
Well then.
Once we're done eating, let's split up again and look around. You have any problem with that, Celeste? There may well be a discovery waiting for us, which may further enrich our life here. No point in looking for clues. So then we start to come together, keep guards in, and ruin the conversation.
you called for me and so I appeared.
Oh dear! What? Nobody called you! How come this genocide deal and not Toko?
Yes!
God, this place is just amazing. Finally, a place I can trust be my murderous self. Which is why I decided to stop holding back and spread my wings. No more hiding in a cave for me. Plus, I have another battle to fight. Well, kill the personality thing is so overdone. I've got to destroy the stereotypes. How about all day and night? Those totally slanderous cliches. But you are a killer personality. If you weren't here, my chance of survival would go up by at least 10. Oh, get back me up here. Even the biggest star needs a little people to hold them on. Oh dear God, never change. No, what the hell? Oh, whatever else we do today, first we should eat. We can't do anything on an empty stomach. You're right, let's hurry up and eat so we can start our investigation. And let's ignore that. So we're forced to eat breakfast, mate with the murderer, and after our much needed but very annoying meal, we set to work looking around the school. Okay, let's see. I think that's gonna be it for today. So I'll see all of you next time. Hopefully that won't be in 2 months. But still want to get this done before V3 comes out. So, till next time, everybody.